What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and today we're going to talk about Ares. This is a character that's been in the game for some time now, and I haven't talked about him at all. You can actually acquire him from the new Epic Quest. And the question is, is he worth building? What is he going to be good for? Well, that's what we're going to answer today. Now, he is non-awakened. However, my buddy Victorious Gaming, he did a video in the APK showing Ares against Null, and he actually did pretty well, but there were some caveats to what I saw. So we'll dive more into that in a little bit, but let's talk about his build and talk about what they could do to actually improve Ares, because this is a really cool character. I mean, this is the god of war. This dude should be insane, and they did some good things for him. However, I feel like there's some things they should have done better also for him. So as far as his build, he has 21,000 physical attack, low physical attack. He has 128 attack speed, 27 crit rate, which he gets a 40% crit rate buff from his fifth skill. He has 186 critical damage, not bad, and 47% ignore defense. So not the greatest stats, and he has max skill cooldown. As far as the Urus, you guys know how I always like to do when I first test characters. I don't put Urus on them, nothing like that. Level 20 gears, level 60 character. And let's talk about everything else here. His passive, this is an amazing passive. He gets native super armor. He gets the increased damage by 40%. He also has this activation rate when skill regular attacks excluded. So whenever you're doing your skills is used, he gets a 100% chance to increase critical damage by 100% on critical attacks for 10 seconds on a 15-second cooldown. So most of the time, if you have max critical damage, which is 200%, you're going to have 300% critical damage. This is a very, very powerful skill. It means a lot of extra damage, which is great. And there's some other things in this kit that actually help to do critical hits, which is awesome. His one skill, nothing. His two skill, okay, whatever. But the third skill, this is wonderful. Increase guaranteed critical rate by 30% for 7 seconds. So if you're running a rage and you hit this skill, you have a higher chance of proccing the rage. And if you're running a regular proc or whatever obelisk you have, you hit this skill, you're going to have extra chances of doing critical hits, which means that you're going to get that 3% critical damage if you have max 200% critical damage. And you have a 100% chance to be immune to all damage with his native super armor. So he isn't going to get guard broken unless he's in some kind of purple attack that has penetration. That's wonderful. And then his fourth skill gives him an all defense down to sex up to 50% and starts off at 15%. Nice. I wish it was a little bit higher, but okay. And then the fifth skill gives him a nice 40% all attack buff. He gets an all speed by 5, so he only needs 125% all speed. So we're going to have max attack speed. And he has critical rate by 40%. So you only need 35% critical rate to max out his critical rate. And this is lasts for 8 seconds, and it's on a 9-second cooldown. A bit of a long cooldown on the skill. I wish it was 8 seconds instead of 9. And believe me, that 1 second would make a world of difference. But it does give him 5 seconds of invincibility. So he has 5 seconds of invincibility on one skill. He has immunity, 5 seconds of immunity on another skill. Lots of survivability, but that gets even better with his passive, which activation rate when HP is below 99%. He gets a 4% recovery of max HP every 1 second. That is dope. So he has an insane heal, immunity, invincibility. He's got some partial iframes. He has a lot of survivability, even though he's probably going to die, which you guys are going to watch here in a little bit, because he's just level 60. He isn't awakened. He doesn't have all those extra stats, but we really want to just see how good his damage is and talk a little bit further about that. And then he has this 30% increase in physical attack. So if you do awaken this character, you're going to have another leadership for your physical attack characters. And against Null, sometimes it's just really good to have multiple characters that can do a decent amount of damage. And when you put 2 or 3 characters together, you can beat Null, which is the in-game content in the game. This is, guys, I say it all the time, right? It's Marvel Null fight. We want to beat Null. And the question is, can Ares do it? Can he beat Null? Well, yeah, he can beat him. Not with my current build, but he can beat him if he's awakened. So his fifth skill is pretty cool. He breaks out the Gatling gun, starts blowing away. But this skill can be canceled easily or be interrupted very, very easily. He's a physical attacking character, so you're going to be facing Proxima a lot, especially if you just have him non-awakened. And yeah, she just jumps around and that skill's just gone. You get the attack buff immediately, which is awesome. You get the invincibility and attack buff immediately, but it's a skill that misses a lot, unfortunately. In Shadowland, it's going to be insane. something else to notice about the 5th skill is the skill is long. You can't cancel this thing, right? You let it play out, and you notice the invincibility up here in the top left is gone. But he goes into an iframe after once the invincibility finishes. So it's a really, really long animation that can really help your survivability and be very good, especially in Shadowland. However, against someone like Proxima, who has penetration on some of her skills, yeah, you can take a lot of damn damage. The 4th skill gives this all defense down, and you need to swipe, you need to hit your hammer down a couple times before you really get the max amount of all defense down. I noticed whenever I was playing World Boss, if I just hit once and then cancel into my skills, the all defense down didn't seem like it was applying like it is here. I could have been missing though, but I don't think so. I tried it quite a few times and it seemed like I had to swipe down a couple times before the all defense down really applied. And then the 2nd skill has a little bleed, which is useless in this game. Maybe one of these days they'll make dot effects actually useful. That would be pretty freaking sweet. So that way when we see bleed, we think, oh, or shock, or, you know, some kind of dot effect, we think, oh, this is awesome. But no, in Marvel Future Fight, we don't think that. The 3rd skill gives them that 30% critical rate increase, and it also gives them immunity to all damage. Now, you can cancel the skill immediately and get the critical rate, the guaranteed critical rate, and you can get the immunity immediately, which is nice. That's really nice. Now, some people, what they'll do is, like, if you were playing with a Rage, I definitely would hit that damn 3 first to get that guaranteed critical rate, and then I would go into the 4 to apply the all defense down. Right? You see the first swipe, he didn't apply the all defense down, he had to hit it twice. And then maybe, and let that 4 just play out, because it seems like the 4 does the most damage. I mean, the 5th does decent damage too, but it seems like the 4 does the most. I mean, if you were playing with an Awaken skill, you would definitely want to hit the 3 to get the guaranteed critical rate. You'd want to hit the 5 to get the 40% attack buff and the crit rate buff, and then go into the Awaken skill. So it'd be something like this, is what you would do. Now, I'm not really sure when you can cancel the Awaken skill. I don't have him awakened, so it's hard telling. But I really do love Ares, and he's a character that I would definitely consider awakening just because I love him. I just think the God of War is a really, really cool character, and it'd be cool to have him awaken. And I think he'd be a good asset, at least for a player like me, having that 30% increase in physical attack, so I could put him on a team. However, I'm really at a point where I don't really need anybody per se, but maybe you will. You know, maybe you will need a character like this. But the thing is, the runs that I've seen him do, like in the APKs, they had Pierce on their cards, and we all know how powerful Pierce is. Like with Null. Null has 5% Pierce in his kit, and he just does insane damage, right? It's not only because of that, it's also because he does lots of hits, you can chain his skills together, and so on. But that Pierce is really what's making the difference. And I just wonder, you know, the APK run that I saw, you know, he had 77% physical attack. 77% physical attack is a lot. And 5% Pierce. And he barely got the clear against Stage 1 Null, but only with one support, who was Mystique. Shout out to Victorious Gaming for putting out that video. But knowing that, it makes you think he probably won't be the greatest for Null. He'll be like a good character to use against Null to add a little extra damage, you know, in between switching your characters. But as far as like doing solos, I mean, if he had double support, yeah, I feel pretty confident he could definitely do a solo, but you really don't. We only have 2 supports in the game currently right now, in Mystique and Valkyrie, and you really don't want to put both of them on one character. You really kind of want to spread them out a little bit so you can get your clears. Not everybody has OP accounts. Now, like me, you know, I do a Null clear, Stage 9 Null, with 2 supports every day, but I have characters powerful enough that I can do 5 clears against Null with the characters that I currently have. A lot of players don't have that, and that's why I'm throwing this out at you. He has a Stage 6 Power Bang Rehawk, set so the bare minimum, and then we have a critical damage with 120% damage proc. And you definitely want to give him critical damage. He gets a massive crit rate buff. You don't need to give him a critical rate obelisk. Critical damage with a damage proc would be the way to go. And he does play okay with a proc, but because of the 9-second cooldown on the 5 and the 7-second cooldown on the 4 and the 3, he can be kind of wonky to play, and then there's no uniform. So what we'll do is we're just going to go into World Boss, and we're just going to go against Proxima here, right? We'll just try a Stage 50, and we'll use 1 support in Valkyrie. She's going to offer that 50% damage dealt to super villains. And we're going to use Ares leadership. Now, I could definitely go more OP. I could put another support in there and all that. But we really want to see just how well he can do. Now, the first one we're going to try here, we're going to do it with no strikers whatsoever. Now, to keep in mind, in the next one, I'll probably use Scarlet here. And I'm going to use Scarlet because of her mind control, because Proxima jumps around a lot, and your skills can just get interrupted, canceled. It really sucks, guys. When your skills get interrupted and canceled, you just lose damage. And honestly, it's trash. I really wish he had more range on his skills or better targeting it. So I'm going to cancel the 5 into the 4 is what I'm going to do. Get that massive attack buff. And then we're going to go into the 3. Now see, what you can do is you can run around a little bit here if you want. And then go back into the 5, 4. And then go into the 3. And because of that long cooldown on that 5, look at it. So we're just going to go into the 4 right now. And a lot of times what I find that I do is I just kind of aren't really trying to proc on anything, to be perfectly honest. Just kind of whatever. And we're dead. And that's the thing, guys. You know, Proxima has penetration on her skills. And even though Ares has a massive heal, he has immunity, invincibility. The immunity and invincibility can be pierced. It can be penetrated. So you can still take a lot of damage. He's a level 60 character. He can die very, very easily. Now, I could have come in here and played this and probably done a recorded run for you where I would show him surviving. But I wanted to be more realistic and just show you, like, when you just come in here and you try to do a run with him, it might not be as easy as you think. But again, to be fair, and this is really like any character you do this with, when they're at level 60, they are at a massive disadvantage, handicap to the world boss. They're going to take a lot more damage. They're going to die a lot easier. That's just the true facts of it. He isn't awakened, so he just doesn't have all those stats. We're going to try that again, but this time we're going to put Scarlet in there. Now, the cool thing about this is we do have all defense down in our kit, but Scarlet does her all defense down when she does her 4th skill. However, it stacks up to 50%, so does ours. So they're not going to interrupt each other at all, which is nice. And you're going to see a stark difference between having Scarlet in here and not having Scarlet in here. Now, you could hit the 3 if you want to get the guaranteed critical rate. If I was playing with a Rage, I definitely would be doing that. But since we're playing with a Obelisk, it procs differently, so I'm not really too worried about it. And I'm trying to spread out the 3 and the 5. So we're going to end up proccing on the 3rd skill, which sucks. And there we go. And there's the proc on the 5th skill. Not bad, huh? Not bad. And the procs on the 4th skill. I mean, the proc really just kind of goes all over the place. But you see that and there we go, we died. You know, and that's because Scarlet's mind control isn't lasting the full 10 seconds, you know. Thanks to Conquer level and resist. Even when you have enough Conquer level in these world bosses, even when I wish it wouldn't go all the way out to that screen. Even when you have, look at this, 91, right? Resist 855. Even though I have these things all maxed out doing really well, Scarlet's mind control still only lasts for a short period of time. It doesn't last for the full 10 seconds. This, by the way, just a small little rant. This is another reason I never push World Boss. Because what's the point? Your strikers don't improve. They don't get their full benefits. Your all defense down isn't going to always apply as long. You know, when your striker comes in and does their all defense down, or they do their mind control, it's not going to last as long as it normally would, no matter what your resist level is, no matter what your valor level is. And that's a bunch of bullshit. And I said it. That is not right. That's why I don't like pushing World Boss past stage 50. I just want to get those red booty boxes and that's it. Although now we just fight Null, so it really doesn't matter, I guess, since you can't debuff Null at all. So we'll try that again. I mean, that really does irks me a lot whenever you play and you see that your strikers don't work as well as they should, it really drives you nuts. You know, it's like, why have conquer level and resist if it's not even going to help you? I mean, seriously. 5-4. And there we go. And, you know, remember, you know, it's not like he's all built up and jacked up. We're going to the 5. I mean, that fifth skill is just so long. There we got the proc on the beginning of the 4. Now that wasn't bad damage right there at all. Okay. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Okay. Then we hit the 5, 3, and the 4. Oh, crap. We didn't even get the proc. Okay. And boom, shakalaka. Let's go, let's go, let's go. We'll get in the middle of the screen. So, I mean, right now, we are on pace to do this. We are on pace. He can definitely do this, which is good. It is good. And of course, we need to get out of there. We need to get out of there. Okay, here we go. And, you know, whenever you do the 3-5 like this in conjunction with each other, you're actually hurting your survivability quite a bit. But I know some people might say, well, you should use the 3. So we're going to use it. And there the proc didn't even engage, which is annoying as hell. Proc didn't engage. See, this is another problem with Ares, is that his proc doesn't seem to want to engage a lot of the time. It's pretty damn annoying, but look at that. When it hits, it's great. I mean, it's really good damage. I mean, this is 120% proc and no Urus. This is really good damage, honestly. It's not bad at all. And the proc didn't engage again. Once again. Doesn't engage. Here, let's try 4. And then the 5. And we didn't get no all defense down there at all. Okay. Woo, no all defense down there again. Yeah, get out of there, get out of there, get out of there. Okay, we die. So this is the thing about, you know, characters that are just at, you know, level 60. It's just really hard to gauge how good their survivability is because you don't have the stats, you don't have them transcended, and that really does hurt them. But, you know, when I see an APK run with this guy with 5% Pierce, and he barely gets it done using a CTP of energy, and that's just stage 1, guys. That makes me think that, and with 77% physical attack, that makes me think that he's not going to be your ideal character for an all. He'll be a decent Awakened character. He's going to do pretty well probably in World Boss, especially because he has this crazy all defense down. On his Awakened skill that stacks up to 65%, starts off at 10%. This is actually really good. He's got other all defense down on his 4 skill that's going to fill up this cup really quick. So if you use a debuff leadership like White Fox or Dr. Voodoo, it's really going to bump up his all defense down. He's going to do really, really good damage. He's a good character, but I do feel there's some holes in his game. I don't like that his skills can be interrupted so easily. But man, he's got a lot of survivability. Even though we just watched him die, to be fair, again, level 60 against the world boss, they just don't have much survivability. How many times have we brought characters in there and they just die almost instantly? They just die almost instantly. I mean, look at Venom. You know, he was terrible. Then when he got tier 3, survivability went up. Look at Ghost Rider, the same thing. You know, when they get transcended or tier 3'd, they're just way better because they get massive stat bumps, massive HP bumps, and it just helps their survivability so much, especially with a character like this that has this insane heal. I mean, 4% recovery of max HP. If he had more HP, he's going to get more of a heal. It's just, he's going to be way better. So I don't know if I'll invest in him and make him Awakened or not. I might. Let me know in the comments if you all would like to see that. But I'm definitely going to be awakening Gambit first because I think he looks fantastic. So let me know how you're all feeling about Ares, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one.